Okay, very good morning to all of you. I want you to raise your hands to answer a couple of questions. How many of you have used any AI tool this week? All right, almost all of you. How many think you can go back to pre-AI era? All right, almost all of you again. Lastly, how many believe AI should be part of education curriculum? Unambiguously, yes. 3 is the charm. So that brings me to the topic of today's talk, AI and education. We are going to look at how AI is playing a major role in shaping the education ecosystem of our country. And I'm going to possibly leave you with a blueprint on what is the framework that we can have to be able to make us AI native ready as an education is concerned. For some hard facts, we have roughly 15 lakh schools in the country, 98 lakh teachers, and 25 crore students. But only 60% of those schools have access to internet. Without internet, there is no AI. So we can look at AI as something that can leap us forward, or it can be the biggest divide that we have ever seen. And that's why, friends, we look at the 3 most important aspects that are going to shape how AI is going to play a role in the education ecosystem of our country. First one is policy. This is mostly in the realm of governments and regulators. You need to look at the compute, you need to look at the data, you need to look at liabilities, you need to come up with the right set of guidelines to be able to ensure that the new set of students who are coming into labor market are ready for the jobs that are going to be present at that point in time. And our country is very serious about it. We already see initiatives like the AI mission with an outlay of more than 10,000 crores for 5 years. Next is ethics. This is an area where you can talk about bias, stereotypes, privacy, safety, so on and so forth. The core idea behind this is if you're exposing your students to AI, you need to be extremely careful on the kind of content they're going to consume. Because AI giving you answers which is seeped in biases, in stereotypes, is going to be catastrophic as far as education for students is concerned. Lastly, the education. And this is an area where each one of us in this room is going to play an important role. All of us are important stakeholders, be it the educators, be it parents, be it students. We can shape how education ecosystem is going to evolve with artificial intelligence. So while policy is primarily an ambit of governments and regulators, ethics is an ambit of AI creators, education is where we all can make a difference. And now I'm going to argue some of the aspects that are propagated as hard truths as far as AI in education is concerned, but I don't really think that they are true. In fact, they are myths. AI will replace teachers. I'm sure all of you have heard of this. It has made you anxious. I don't think this is really true. When you are teaching something to someone, you are effectively trying to provide mentorship, you're trying to provide guidance, you're creating role models. When I was a kid, I had a lot of role models and I tried mimicking them. I tried imitating them. At the same time, there's a lot of cultural wisdom, there's a lot of emotional connection that you need to build as far as teaching as a profession is concerned. And at this point in time, AI is nowhere close to it. So the real risk is not whether AI is going to replace teachers, but whether we are using it as an excuse to not fill in the teacher vacancies. Some hard facts, we have more than 1 million teacher vacancies, and we are looking at roughly 50 students to 1 teacher in our country. Can we bring it down? Can we use AI as an enabler? Can we use it as a complementer to be able to make it happen? Is a question that we should be asking ourselves. AI will level the education playing field. This is another aspect that typically spoken about as far as AI in education is concerned. I don't really know if this is true because there is no AI without internet, like I said, and hard fact, not more than 60% of the schools in our country have access to internet. Even those who have access to internet, in some cases, they are not able to afford the best of the AI models that are out there. Affordability and accessibility is still a very important issue that we need to address. Without it, we cannot make the hard claim of AI being an enabler. AI has a jagged frontier. It's great at things you wouldn't expect, but bad at things you would expect. Next, India is too far behind to lead in AI education. AI as a technology is just starting to emerge. Any new technology that's coming up usually follows an S curve, and we are barely at the start of the curve that's moving upwards. What we do with our policies in the next 2 years is really going to define where our country is going to be in the knowledge economy in the next 50 years. So don't use it as an excuse to be able to not work on the policy at this point in time. Lastly, deploying good AI tools and learning outcomes will naturally follow. We cannot abdicate our responsibility by saying this statement. This is not necessarily true. Even if you deploy AI tools, people who know how to use it, people who know whether the answer that's coming out from AI is accurate or not, those are the ones who can make best use of AI. For those who have not had the right set of opportunities, who don't understand the domain very well, they will not be able to use AI as well as people who are domain experts would be able to do. So instead of just using AI as an excuse to say that if I give this as a tool to the students, they'll be able to do anything that's possible within the education realm, the real question to ask is, have we created students with enough amount of domain expertise to be able to use AI in the rightmost manner? So the question is never, are we using AI? It's how intentionally and to what pedagogical end. What next? So we have seen a bunch of myths, and I'm hopefully tried to make some arguments on why I really consider them to be not fully true. Can we convert the truth into a blueprint? Can we bring in a framework that's going to act as a blueprint for AI education ready country? I present to you that framework, which I call as PUAM. PUAM in Sanskrit means supreme. It's also the name of one of the oldest supercomputers that we have built indigenously. We have done it in the past. Can we build another supreme framework and not only adopt it out of our own volition, but also set an example for other countries to follow? Personalized learning is the first aspect of this framework. No student is same, and I'm sure all of you will relate with it. Every student has had different worldviews, they have had different experiences, they have had different habits, they have had different backgrounds, they have their own way of learning. Their pace of learning, the way they read, the way they understand is very different. We cannot have a one-size-fits-all solution. And AI is extremely good at being tailored for individual needs. So can we use AI to be able to build personalized learning solutions for each individual? If we can do it, we are really trying to commoditize AI, bring it up at scale for all our students to be able to use it. AI literacy. Don't think of AI as an elective. Think of it as part of a core curriculum. Can we redesign our curriculum to be AI native instead of just incrementally making changes to bring in AI into it? That's a question that we should be asking ourselves, because AI is the future. Role restructuring. This is primarily for educators. Can the educators move from being a sage to a navigator? Can they think of AI as an enabler for activities that they undertake? Remember, it's not AI that's going to replace the educators. It's an educator using AI who is going to replace an educator who doesn't use AI. Accessibility as digital infrastructure. All of you must be familiar with UPI. We commoditized it. Banking transactions were broken. We built UPI. Almost everyone in our country now uses UPI. Can we do the same with AI? Can we create AI-based solutions which can act as digital public goods so that every educator and every student has access to the same set of solutions? Doesn't matter where you are in our country. Lastly, we should focus on modernizing our assessments. Our assessments haven't changed radically, but AI has brought in a plethora of changes in the way the job market has evolved. We are no longer looking at people entering labor market, answering questions which are fact-based or based on pure knowledge. We want people who can be creative, who can think from first principles, who can use analogies, and you can have novel solutions for very hard problems. And that can happen only when we start assessing students in the same manner, starting from Q12 to graduation to post-graduation. Overall, this is the framework that I present, which I think is going to radically change the way we have our curriculum today and also the way we assess our students, with an ultimate outcome of making them ready for how the jobs are going to evolve in the AI world. Our country has always stepped up whenever there was a need. Banking transactions are broken, we built UPI. Commoditized at a large scale. COVID, we built one of the indigenous vaccines, exported it to the world. Whenever such situations have arisen, we have always stepped up. I consider AI to be a situation which is no different from the examples that I took. We need to bring in the right set of urgency. We need to think about the right set of policies with a lot of alacrity. And if we can do that, we have the requisite set of talent to be able to make this happen. Remember, we have the largest, the youngest workforce in our country. We have the most number of students anywhere in the world. If we can use PUAM as the blueprint for making ourselves AI education ready, we can not only benefit from it in our country, but also set an example for how the world should adopt AI for education ecosystem. And I end my speech there. Thank you.